Nithya Menon is an artist who does not like interviews with templated questions like, "What did you learn from Mani Ratnam during the shoot of OK Kanmani?" And so I'll try not to do that in this conversation. She's all set to bring us her first Hindi web series on one of the world's biggest OTT platforms, Amazon Prime. This brand new show called Breathe 2 after a super successful season 1. This one is set to release on the 10th of July, where Nithya will be seen partnering the wonderful Abhishek Bachchan, who's also making his OTT debut. Nithya, I read somewhere that the great Mohanlal discovered you on a tourism book cover and offered you a film. Perhaps such strokes of destiny don't happen to too many people. And here you are now, an accomplished artist, all set for your OTT debut. Do you ever pause and look back and wonder how it all happened? Does it feel unreal at times?
It doesn't feel unreal because it was very much a conscious, path I walked on. Pretty much painful because it was so far away from the dream I actually had and what I wanted to do in life. So nothing seems unreal. It was painfully real, all of it. But I am very aware of how it all happened and how it was all just simply meant to be. There was no other explanation to why I'm in films because, you know, being, I didn't even know that what acting was or if I could act or whatever, to here I am. And so I'm very aware that it was completely meant to be. And I've made my peace with it. And today I'm like happy, with it. And I want to do something good with what I've been given. It's a gift.
Now, while this show is directed by Mayank Sharma, I believe it's got a battery of writers. It's got Bhavani
Yeah.
Iyer, Vikram Tuli, Arshad Syed. Do you also jam a lot with writers, or just quietly stick to what's written?
The writing is pretty much done and, like fixed completely by the time we are going to shoot. So there's no sort of last minute writing happening at all. So that stuff is already taken care of and it's done. But having said that, while we're shooting, there's no, very strong like, oh, you have to do this or whatever. Like the actors get that space to sort of like I could say certain things the way I wanted to say, the way I thought was more real or more comfortable. And I was given that space because, that's what you contribute from your side as an actor as well.
Now, you said somewhere apparently that you're not at all fond of limelight, that you like to be anonymous, you like to walk around freely, and that you're aware that perhaps this profession is a bit of a mismatch for your personality. Now, with a substantial following down south, a hugely successful film in Hindi with Mission Mangal, and now with Breed 2 on a massive OTT platform, there is no chance of escaping or shying away from that limelight and attention, isn't it?
Yeah. Like I said, I have a very sort of different approach to it, where I realize that what I've wanted or what my, like my liking is not perhaps what is meant to happen. And so I'd rather accept what is and be happy through that rather than complain all the time, So right now, that's how I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it as I've started to really develop a sort of love towards cinema and towards the medium of filmmaking in general, that all of the other stuff doesn't seem to matter anymore. That's what matters the most. Like when you develop true love for that profession, really, the rest of it doesn't matter. It's only when you're not interested in that profession that you're like, but why am I having to deal with all this? I don't even want this, now I found a path, I found a purpose, and I know what I want to do. I know how much more I want to achieve and do here. So then everything else kind of just went off to the back seat.
You shot a film called Prana in 4 languages in 23 days. Now that is super quick. What was your turnaround time like for Breathe 2?
Well, I'm not exactly sure the entire thing, how long it took. I'm really not sure of that. But my character would be only a part of it. So I can't be sure. There were
How many?
parts without
Yeah.
me and stuff, different locations and all of that. But we did move around a lot. We traveled a lot. We went to a bunch of different places. So Breathe is not set just in one place. There's a lot of traveling. There's a lot of different locations.
But I've been told that down south you're referred to as a one take artist. And so your turnaround time would be very, very, very quick, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. I don't believe in doing too many takes. It for an actor who's spontaneous or and not method. The first take is always the best. No matter what you can do. Sometimes I only ask. I say no. I'll do one more. But always on the editing table, they always say But somehow yours, the first take only is the best. Even with those little glitches, that's the best. Let's just use that. So I don't believe in just killing yourself, like going on obsessing about it. You just be real, like spontaneous, be natural, just do it in one take and then move on.
Now, Breed 2 is about a little girl called Sia who gets kidnapped and then starts the travails of the parents. That's you and Abhishek. Um, how does an actor of your caliber or experience go about trying to evoke that feeling of pain and the helplessness of a mother whose little daughter has been kidnapped? Did you take references from real life mothers?
No, I didn't take references from anyone, but it was definitely something that I spent a bit of time like trying to think about, because what I was asked to invoke was a feeling that I was not familiar with. Not only is that situation so unique and so surreal, you know, none of us, not even if you actually had a child, you can actually imagine how would I react if something happened to that child. So for me, I don't have children or anything, but I really, I wanted to make it, but I wanted to make it authentic. I didn't want it to be a one dimensional performance. Oh, my child is gone. Oh, I'm so sad. I wanted it to be a real performance. I wanted it to be deep. And so for me, within myself, I did a lot of like thinking about like, okay, let's just forget all these people here and let's think about what if this is your child and how would you react? What would you do? Not that this takes a long time. I may take like 2 minutes before the shot to just sort of put myself there and then, but but I had to do that. I had to, until then, I was used to doing roles where I knew what the character was going through. I understood. I had an idea. This was surreal. This was out of my experience a little bit. So I had to really imagine what could be the case, and then I had to act. And I wanted to make that also real.
I read somewhere, and maybe it was a very loosely written comment, but I read that you accept 5 out of 100 scripts that are offered to you. And you've also been quoted as saying, very rarely have I immediately liked the script when it was narrated to me. How did the makers of Breed 2 convince you? Did they take a long time? Who called you first? And what was that process like?
I don't exactly remember who called me first, but I think the fact that Mayank was so clear that I was the one he wanted. He told me that he watched OK Kanmani and immediately he said, I want her to play Abba right from the start. That he said, in my mind, there was only one option, and this was the Abba I wanted. He's a very quiet guy, but he gets what he wants. So, the fact that he was so insistent showed that he understood, he saw something in the actor, which always is a wonderful thing. It means you'll always have a very nice warm working relationship because that person gets it and that person gets you. Um, and of course this character was not one dimensional. It was not like I'm just a mother. That was, I would never have accepted if it was just being a mother who's just sad and upset. This character goes into all kinds of spaces that you'll never predict. That being a mother is such a minuscule part of the whole thing, and then beyond that, as you move, you'll see everything that they do is so different and so crazy and all of that. So there was so much for me to do, which is what, for me, it's like, whoa, I love it, let's do it.
Now, Abhishek, who plays your husband in the show, is known to be a chiller. He's got this really nice guy vibe. He's very classy, very well spoken, very, very funny. He can be a laugh riot. What was your first meeting with him like? Was it awkward? I'm not sure if you guys had met earlier. And what were those early conversations like? Did you guys discuss each other's work, or maybe some of Mr. Bachchan's work as well? Senior Bachchan, that is.
I get along pretty well with most people. Like, it's a little hard not to get along with me, I think, because I just I'm really comfortable with most people, and I get them and we start talking. So that happened anyway. Like, I think we met in the office for a bit of a reading. Yeah, for a reading. Yeah. So we met there, and we, as usual, we got along. But it was a very normal conversation. We didn't talk about senior Bachchan or anything, but we had a regular conversation. That's one thing I noticed with all these guys, whether it's Akshay or Abhishek or any of them, Vidya or anybody. They're all so like nice, and they don't have any airs, and they're just very nice and normal and very easy, easy going. So because I'm the new one there, I'm a bit new to the whole space, but I never felt like that. They always made me feel absolutely welcome.
You said somewhere that while growing up, you weren't exposed to too much cinema. You hadn't watched away films. You still don't watch much. What's the? Have you seen enough of Abhishek's work? Have you seen any of his films?
I saw Guru, which I loved. I saw Delhi 6 in the lockdown.
Wow.
I'm not much of I've not seen too many films. Like, I actually decided in lockdown that, you know what, I'm going to watch some films now. The classics that everyone talks about and you haven't seen. I was like, finally, I think this is the time to do it. So I started watching all films. I started watching all kinds of films. So like I said, I watched Delhi 6. I watched Kurosawa's films, and I watched some foreign films, and, so I started watching now.
There was a time when you changed your wardrobe from black to white because you said that white represented you better in those days because it become calmer.
Where are you getting this information from?
we have a million sources. What zone are you in these days, and what color represents you the best, or your mood these days?
Oh, still white.
Yeah,
white, and maybe like pink and white. I love that so much now.
You also said somewhere that once you experience films at a deeper level is when it hits your heart. What has Breathe 2 done to you? What's the range of human emotions you felt while making Breathe 2?
Like, the shooting of Breathe was one of the happiest times I can think of and I can remember. I think even personally, I was in a nice space, and this shoot was happening at that time. I was so happy with this new thing that had opened up in front of me. When I find stagnating a little bit scary. That's what I find scary. So in films, I was finding a little bit of I was wondering what's going to happen next. Like, everything seemed so tired and so done and dusted. So at a time like that, when this new thing was opening up in front of me, I was exhilarated. So I was very, very excited. I was very happy. Before Breathe, I had not worked for a year or so. I was just in my own space. So everything that was there, just came out when I was doing Breathe. It was waiting to come out, and that was again a beautiful feeling. I absolutely loved everyone on set. The set was beautiful. I loved the assistants. I loved Mayank, the camera. I know this is hard for people to believe, but Breathe 2 is the best performance I have given so far. And wow. I am myself excited to watch it because, I'm not always too happy with the performance I give. Like, I'm a little bit like, that didn't work out well. Everyone else seems to love it, but I know what could have been better, could have been different. But with Breathe, I don't feel like that. I am myself, like, yes, I'm so happy with how, I was allowed to do my best. I was given that space to do my best. So I want to see what does that look like on screen when I'm actually given my space? How will I look when I do that? So in my opinion, my best performance so far in my entire career.
Were there moments where you practice Rag Yaman between takes? And I know you do that at home.
Yeah, no, at home, yes. When I'm at home, I'm yeah, right now also singing and stuff.
Now, Nithya, nothing seems manufactured or inauthentic about you. How do you deal with the artifice around it? It's not about the film industry, but the world in general.
It has chipped away at me like you chip away at a diamond.
Wow.
It's been pretty rough, but what finally came out is a person who's knows herself better and who can deal with the world so much better, who's happy, you know. That the place I was put in, it was, I feel it's not an accident, because for someone like me, it is the absolute wrong place to put me in. I will never be happy in a place like that, but I was put there, and that was for a reason, and I believe it is to learn something. And I did learn, and I continue to learn, and I can only see myself becoming better, brighter, you know, happier, shinier, you know. So yeah, with a lot of pain and a lot of, it's not easy. And you can see that as well. If you just see all my interviews, you'll see the difference because I'm so transparent. You can see from before to now, like you can literally see the person transforming. And this was given to me as a gift.
Wow. You've done a lot of films in four languages down south. You've done your Hindi debut as well. Tell me about films that you think Hindi cinema or the Hindi content space needs to perhaps borrow from South. I mean, you've done two great films like Awe and Prana, I believe. Do you think those can be remade in Hindi, or any other stories or any other shows or films that you think can be remade or should be remade by the Hindi guys?
I'm not a big believer in remakes in general. I don't think any film should be remade. Like, just watch the original film, and get past that whole thing of language and everything. Watch it with subtitles. Watch the film, even if you don't, understand. Just watch the film. Like, there's a sort of magic that a film has, which you cannot exactly pinpoint, and never ever can you recreate that magic. And I'm saying, from someone like, I have myself done remakes, which I know for sure has not been anything like the original. It'll never be, no matter who your actor or whatever. So I'm not very fond of remakes. You want to watch a film like that, just watch the one that exists, rather than remake it and lose somewhere uh, you know its magic.
Finally, Nithya, what's the one takeaway? What will be the one takeaway for parents, especially mothers, when they watch Breathe 2?
Wrong question. I don't think it's purely a thriller. It's purely just meant to, be extreme drama and action and those kind of things. I don't think, parents or mothers really can take away anything in that sense, in the sense of parenting or something like that. It's a thriller. It's in that genre. I think, like, we just have to see it like that. It's just a good piece of, television, and it's well written. It'll be gritty. It'll keep you on your toes. It's not as much about a mother and father as you might imagine. It's not just about parents. They're not just parents. There's way more to the whole thing that's coming up. So you'll see when you watch it.
We shall discover. The world shall as well. Breathe 2 releases on Amazon Prime on the 10th of July. Make sure you guys catch it because it has the wonderful Abhishek Bachchan and the very, very real, the very authentic, the very candid, and the very, very honest Nithya Menon. Thanks so much for talking to us, and good luck for everything you
Thank
do.
you.